coming up in court today.
So at that time when I declined these advances, he presented the ring, I guess as an enticement. And I told him I was not interested at all, and that would not make a difference.
I never presented this.
What is your side of the story?
In the court system, justice is not always just. That's why they bring their disputes here. Real people, real problems, real justice. Justice is eye for an eye.
The plaintiff is suing the defendant for stealing an heirloom ring. The defendant claims the plaintiff was making inappropriate suggestions towards her.
I'm the plaintiff, and I'm going to win. I hired a young woman to work in my home. Not only was she incompetent, I discovered she was a thief.
I'm the defendant, and I'm gonna win. I was looking for a job, not a boyfriend, and after all that was accused of stealing. Judge Akeem's gonna see it my way.
All rise!
Carter Lawrence, you're suing Monica Hall, claiming she stole an antique ring that belonged to your grandmother. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You say that he's accusing you just to defraud his insurance company. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Tell me about your case.
Your Honor, I live in a high-rise condo down near downtown. I hired Miss Hall here through a professional service company.
What do you mean a professional service company?
An executive search company.
Like a executive dating company?
No.
Oh, so she's an employee?
Employment.
Okay, got it.
Not a domestic employment service, but a sort of like headhunters.
Okay, great. And what was her title? What did she do for
I hired her to manage the business affairs and social affairs of my home.
Okay.
I entertain quite a bit with clients from locally and abroad, of course.
Okay.
And I needed someone to oversee this effort for me who was more than, you know, a waitress or hostess type.
Okay, so you were in charge of his house, is that right, to entertain parties?
Yes, sir.
What kind of things did you do?
Well, actually, he had a lot of events in the evening, so I'd handle invitations, guest lists, and such, and just social occasions around the house.
Okay, that's what you
And just
hired
domestic affairs, I would manage that.
All right.
Yes.
Go ahead and tell me more.
After a while, we had a sort of a change in activity, and I needed more domestic help.
Okay.
And I engaged the services of...
Well, actually, Your Honor, if you don't mind, what happened is I was hired probably 6 months ago, and I was with him about 4 months. And shortly after being hired, I, had started with the responsibilities as discussed, and that's when the advances started.
What advances?
Actually, personal advances to...
like, what do you mean, personal advances?
Just
That's not
responsibilities
true.
that weren't outlined.
Okay, be specific. Like what?
To spend time away from my job with him. Socially romantic.
Or were these sexual advances?
They were, and I continually declined those. And that's actually when the ring in question came into mind, came into play.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about the sexual advances. He asked you to go on away trips together?
Not true.
Not so much the trips initially, it's just around the house. Free time, he came home in the afternoon, or if I wanted to stay a little bit later and have dinner with him and continue on. So at that time when I declined these advances, he presented the ring, I guess as an enticement. And I told him I was not interested at all, and that would not make a difference.
I never presented this ring to her.
What is your side of the story?
I never presented that ring to her. I shared it with her to see it because it had been in my family for years. It was my grandmother's ring.
Okay, tell me about
We had discussions about genealogy and heirlooms and so forth.
That's not true at all.
So I wanted to show her this ring just so she'd know I had it.
Okay.
And at that point, I suggested he should lock it up and not keep it around the house. And he said, oh, he wasn't worried about it.
Okay, what makes you think she took the ring? Obviously, you think she took the ring.
Well, when we reached a point of my deciding for her to leave...
So you fired her?
Yes.
No, actually,
she was dismissed, And shortly after she was dismissed, I discovered the ring was missing.
Actually, the story is...
I think I got the story straight. Let me get it. How long did you work for?
Actually, I worked for him initially for 2.5 months before he hired Holly, and Holly came into play.
Who is Holly?
Holly is somebody that he said he hired for the domestic responsibilities, not for the bill paying, but actually to do the actual cleaning around the house, which I was not hired for. It was more the management. And Holly came on, and she did not take on those responsibilities. She spent her time actually with Mr. Lawrence.
She did, too.
What do you mean with Mr. Lawrence?
Well, actually, it was more on a social level. She really wasn't taking the
Social? Are you saying they were sleeping together?
They would disappear for hours in the afternoon.
That's an insult.
And really, it was a relief to me because his advances had stopped at that point.
Okay, tell me about it. So the only thing you brought in this Holly girl, right?
Holly was hired.
Holly
was hired through the management of my office building.
Let me ask something. Did you were you having a romantic relationship with Holly?
No, Your Honor.
You were not?
No.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I don't mean to bother you. There's someone on the phone, Holly, that says it's very urgent that she talks to you right now. I'm sorry to bother you.
The plaintiff is suing the defendant over a stolen ring. The defendant uses sexual harassment to her defense.
All right, Mr. Lawrence, what evidence do you have there?
Well, I have only the insurance policy agreement.
Okay, hand that big Sugar Ray. Okay, ma'am, what do you think happened to the ring?
Well, actually, I tried contacting Holly to see if possibly she knew about it. He had given her several pieces of jewelry during the time she was in the house, so I thought that might be one of the pieces.
Okay, this is where you have insured the ring for $45,000, and if you can prove that she stole the ring and it's gone, then you would collect the $45,000.
Right.
Okay. Well, it looks like that we need to call Holly. Do you have her number?
I actually have her cell phone number.
Okay, what is that number?
214-2.
Okay, did you try to get her here to come to court?
I did several times, and I just haven't been able to reach her.
Okay, well, let's call her up.
All right.
Hi, this is Holly. I can't get to my phone right now, but leave me a short message and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks.
Holly, this is Judge Extreme Akeem. I'm in court right now and with Mr. Carter Lawrence and Monica Hall, and I'm hearing their case. Could you please call me as soon as you can on the number that would show up on your screen? Thank you. All right, we got an answering service. I mean, you have your 1 day in court. This is your 1 day in court, and you should have your witnesses here. Without your witnesses, there's not much I could do about that testimony. Okay, I have to decide if there's enough proof that this woman took your ring, and if she did, then, you know, I know you'll be making a claim for the $45,000 under your insurance policy. So I'll be back in a second with my decision. Thank you.
Sir, with all your social gatherings, how do you know that it wasn't a guest that stole the ring?
Ordinary and normal guests to my condominium did not have access to the secure area where the ring was normally kept. All rise!
All right, Mr. Lawrence, the case against Miss Hall is very circumstantial. I mean, she just was there, and then the ring's missing. Miss Hall, you are saying that this Holly had a lot to do with it. I mean, if she's going to testify favorably, she should be here. I mean, you got to have your witnesses here. I couldn't get her on the phone. So, I mean, this case is it's a difficult case. You know,
Judge, sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I don't mean to bother you. There's someone on the phone, Holly, that says it's very urgent that she talks to you right now. I'm sorry to bother you.
Oh, good. But that's okay. You don't.
I'm
you
sorry.
Never
I know.
Don't worry about it.
I'm sorry.
I've been waiting on that then.
Okay, so you want me to put her on?
Yeah. Could you go get her?
Sure.
Thanks. Yes, this is Judge Extreme Akeem.
Hi, Akeem. This is Holly.
Yes, Holly. How are you? I was trying to reach you on your cell phone. Did you get...
Yeah, I got your message. That's why I was calling back. I'm actually in Acapulco right now.
Oh, okay. And who sent you to Acapulco?
I was actually sitting here on a paid vacation by Mr. Lawrence.
Oh, Mr. Lawrence sent you there.
Yeah.
Well, Holly, I'm trying to ask you if you know anything about a ring that Mr. Lawrence is saying his grandmother was his grandmother's. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I actually, I'm wearing the ring.
You're wearing the ring.
What? Yes, sir.
Well, Holly, just to be safe, I need to know what's the inscription. What does it say inside the ring?
Give me just 1 second. Let me check and make sure. It says, to Virginia with all my love.
Oh, wait a minute.
Let me ask you something. Are you and Mr. Lawrence having a sexual relationship? I know it's personal, but it's relevant to this case.
No.
Yes, I was hired to be his companion of sorts.
That's not.
You were? Well, I appreciate your honesty, Holly. I really do. All right, well, thank you. I think I got all the information I need then. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
She's
Mr.
lying,
Lawrence.
Judge. She's lying. The woman is lying.
Mr. Lawrence, I asked you earlier, I said, are you
lying.
trying to pin this on Miss Hall so that you could collect the insurance policy? Because if you do find that she stole it, then you would have been able to collect the $45,000 or $75,000 insurance policy. And you agreed, yes, if she is found guilty of stealing my ring, I'd get $75,000. You know what that's called? 2 words. Insurance fraud. That's insurance fraud. And guess what?
Holly lied.
Guess what? Insurance fraud is a criminal act. Bring in the state police. Come on in here, Detective Roy. I need you to handcuff Mr. Lawrence. I got evidence that he's trying to commit insurance fraud and trying to collect a $75,000 insurance policy on a ring that was never stolen. Matter of fact, it's being worn by his girlfriend.
Change on the rail.
Paid girlfriend. So handcuff him and take him down to jail. All right, Mr. Lawrence, you're now under arrest.
That woman lied.
You're under arrest and... All right, Ms. Hall, I think you're cleared. I think this has cleared your name, and you've been very professional throughout this proceedings, and it sounds to me like you were hired as a professional, and we appreciate your integrity. We really do. All right. Did you become one of her clients, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
You did? And what happened? You started writing an inmate?
Yes, sir.
And did things develop from there, or did you just stay pen pals?
We stayed pen pals for a long time.
And then what happened after a long time?
Well, I fell in love with him.
You what?
Fell in love with him.
You fell in love with them?
After we got a divorce.
The plaintiff is suing an inmate agency claiming his wife was seduced and harassed by an inmate of a local prison. The defendant claims the agency did nothing wrong and that it's the plaintiff's responsibility to deal with his wife's infidelity.
All right, Reverend Robert Johnson, you're suing Marilyn Ramsey here. She's the founder and CEO of Make an Inmate Your Penmate. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. You're holding Miss Ramsey's organization responsible for the breakup of your 27-year-old marriage. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. You're seeking damages for emotional distress, cost of divorce, and what you lost in the divorce. Is that correct?
Right, Your Honor.
Okay, tell me what happened.
My wife, we've been married for 27 years. And one of the reasons why I married her and we got close is because she was the type of person that reached out to people and always tried to help, you know. Until she came in contact with Making Inmate Your Penmate, our marriage was going great. We had no complaints. I did what I had to do at church. She did what she had to do at church. We came home, we was happy, we got along with each other.
So how long have you been a reverend?
Oh, 10 years.
10 years, okay. And did she help out at the church?
My wife should speak.
Yeah.
Yes, she did.
Okay.
Yes, she did. I mean, that's why we...
Is that your wife back there? Right behind there?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay.
Ex-wife, because we got it.
Sorry, y'all have gotten divorced, right?
We gotten a divorce, yes. Once she got connected with this Making Inmate Your Penmate, things started going downhill. The marriage wasn't never the same, you know. And for some reason, I tried to tell her that I wasn't comfortable with it.
So what, she made an inmate her penmate? Is that what happened here? I mean, did she start writing one?
Exactly.
Did she fall in love with one, or what happened?
Well, at first it was like she was writing him as a pen pal because the lady here convinced her that this is what, you know, that they didn't have anyone to console him, or he didn't receive any type of letters from outside, so he needed this. And being the type of person she is, a giving person, yeah. I guess she didn't feel as though it could hurt you.
Well, let me get her up here. Come on in here, ma'am. Come on in here. Ms. Ramsey, what's your position? What's your organization's position in this, Ms. Ramsey?
Yes, my organization is a little over 4 years old.
Right.
I formed the organization by myself. It is a federally recognized nonprofit organization to bring comfort and Christian counsel to the incarcerated, as we are biblically instructed to do,
right.
And to help provide them some small measure of a link with a normal outside life.
And she became your client? Did you become one of her clients, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
You did? And what happened? You started writing an inmate?
Yes, sir.
And did things develop from there, or did you just stay pen pals?
We stayed pen pals for a long time.
And then what happened after a long time?
Well, I fell in love with him.
You what?
Fell in love with him.
You fell in love with them?
After we got a divorce.
So you fell in love. How long did it take before you fell in love with this inmate?
Well, I've been knowing him for 1.5 years.
All right, ma'am, what's he serving time for, the man you fell in love with in jail?
For bank robbery.
For bank robbery?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so he's going to be in jail for a long time, correct?
Right.
And do you go to jail and visit him?
No, sir.
You don't go to jail and visit him? You just fell in love by letters?
Talk.
He can call you from the jail?
Yes.
And how often do you talk?
Once or twice a month.
Are you in love with the man?
Yes.
And is that why you left your husband?
No, sir.
Oh, it's something else?
Wasn't getting along, wasn't making it, so I decided that we need to divorce.
All right, she's saying that it wasn't necessarily this inmate. I mean, she's saying that y'all weren't getting along anyway. Is that any truth to that?
Well, if it was any truth to it, Jan, I feel as though we would have sat down and talked about it. I mean, and as far as her not writing the inmate, she was writing the inmate and was receiving letters from him also. That's how they started me.
Well, sir, I mean, in all due respect, this organization is not at fault. I mean, all they did was encourage her to write inmates. I mean, it seems to me to be a Christian organization that you know, is just trying to help people and when times of being lonely. And your wife, being a caring person, probably wrote this inmate, and she probably did fall in love. I mean, she told me right here she fell in love, but I can't get a verdict against someone for that. I mean, this organization, I mean, I just cannot give you money against this organization. I really feel for you. I mean, I'm sorry.
The money is not that important about the money. The money, I mean, you could donate the money to any way you want to. It's more about my marriage. Like 27 years of marriage, and I mean, like I said, this is the reason why our marriage broke up. I mean, she said I wasn't doing this, I wasn't doing that.
But sir,
ask her what I wasn't doing.
The marriage is over. She doesn't want to be with you. Y'all have gotten divorced. She doesn't want to be with you. I can't put you back together. There's nothing I can do. I cannot put you back together. And I cannot get you money from this organization because they didn't do anything wrong. You know, this is just one of those cases that I'm just going to have to dismiss your case. I am going to, I mean, I really honor you and respect the fact of what you do for a living. I think you're helping people, you know, and I think you should be applauded for it. And, you know, ma'am, I want you to make sure that you put this man on your website and that you on your dating service website, because I do want him to find a nice woman, okay? And I'm going to ask you to do that free of charge, okay?
We can do that.
I want you to, even if we got to feature him in the ad. And, you know, we will be giving a donation to your church too, of course. But there's nothing I could do with your case. I'm going to have to dismiss it. All right. Thank you.
I was framed. These women obviously know each other and conspired to steal the jewelry. I was framed and I'll prove it.
I'm so excited about the verdict. I'm glad it's resolved. I knew he was guilty. I'm glad he got caught.
First, I want to say that not every penmate becomes a romantic connection. That is actually a very rare occurrence. I am very sorry for the divorce of ending a 27-year marriage. I'm delighted that we can offer Reverend Johnson a place on our internet dating service, and hopefully he can find a good Christian relationship there.